Welcome to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on any platform that you're listening on. All right, welcome back to another show. Appreciate you stopping by. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Got to do this disclaimer. All statements, opinions, they're our own. Do not reflect an employer or anybody else. Now that we got all that out of the way, want to thank Cheers and Spirits in the Arnold Plaza, or in Arnold Station, across from the CVS, behind the old TD Bank. That I don't know if they're ever going to do anything with that building.
I don't know.
I think they said Chick-fil-A was going to go in next to the Sunoco, like
further down, not there.
Right next to the Sunoco, though. Like you're talking maybe 300 yards. Why not just buy out the TD Bank building? It's already got a drive-through.
I don't know. It's probably going to turn into some restaurant that they're going to call the Vault because it has a vault in it.
Be sweet though. Imagine if they did, like they put like a nice, like, I don't know. I don't want to say like a German pub, but like put a pub in there. I don't know how well it would do,
but see, it's not like an old classy bank building. It's like one from the 80s, or 90s. That's ugly.
Right.
See, I remember when the CVS used to be a furniture store.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
They tore it down and rebuilt that CVS, didn't they? Yeah.
And they built that CVS in about 4 days.
They had that cheap Asian labor come in.
Yeah, well, they come in with, I mean, like a lot of those fast food restaurants, they're like prefab. They know how to do, they just put them together like big Legos.
Yeah.
So.
That,
I mean, in Bowie, the Chick-fil-A that's right near the Bay Sox Stadium.
Yeah.
So where it sits used to be its parking lot. They tore and where the parking lot is used to be the Chick-fil-A. They tore it down, essentially, moved it over 100 feet, and then built the parking lot again. It was crazy. And it was, I swear, it was closed down for like a month.
Yeah.
So
we should probably talk baseball a little bit later. This is going to be a hodgepodge of an episode.
Yeah, because neither one of us really know what to talk about. There's not a whole lot going on.
We got a couple of updates on some stuff. Might even do a weight loss update because I got something for you. Like, I don't understand any of this. I don't understand how this is working, how it's not working, then it works again, then it doesn't work. So I want to run it through you. What's going on with me? Mm-hmm. So we might as well just give a full blown update to this shit. Mm-hmm. So we'll do that a little bit later. Was also thinking maybe talk about baseball, since you mentioned the Bay Sox a little bit, because we are coming up on opening day.
And World Baseball Classic. Just, and I didn't watch the game, but Shohei pitched one hell of a...
I watched a couple of them. They were exciting. And the TV ratings on that, like, it was funny. If you watched ESPN or, like, Skip Bayless or whoever on Fox Sports, you would think nobody's watching this and that it should just go away. It's never going away, and I'm going to give you the TV ratings as to why. And I watched a couple of the games. Like, I would say 10 years ago, 12 years ago, sure, you could have said this and killed it off, but someone had the foresight not to. Now it's got more of an Olympic vibe for baseball fans, and people are watching, like, a lot.
Yeah.
Because we think of everything, well, not we, but the American sports media thinks about everything through American eyes. They don't think about it globally.
No.
And let's face facts. We're only 350 million people on this earth. There's a heck of a lot more people outside of these borders.
Yeah.
And they happen to watch sports too. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into that. I'm going to give some UConn updates because things happen. I don't even remember where I left off in the last one, but I'll kind of run through it again. And I'll kind of go through where we are with some of the updates that I was going to do, what I decided not to do, because some of this came in, the pricing got a little expensive for what I want to do. So much so that I the day I got it, I texted you. I was like, this is what they want. I'm like, you got to be kidding me for this. So we'll get into that too. So weight loss updates, a little bit of baseball, the UConn. We have a new bourbon tonight. and maybe not Lamar's contract. If we don't hit it now, we'll hit it next week.
Yeah.
Because that just took a weird turn. He's literally being represented by Florida Man. Have you heard about that?
No.
Yeah.
He was being represented by his mom at one point.
Well, apparently that took a turn. And so now he's being represented by Florida Man unofficially, which the NFL told people not to do business with. Because he's not an official agent.
Is he even an attorney?
Apparently, he's trying to be a fitness guru selling fitness equipment direct to the customer. Yeah, this story...
This is getting good.
Like, as it goes on, like, as you find out more about this guy, you're... I don't know, as an older, younger person, like, not that we're younger, but as middle-aged men from the suburbs, I'm reading this going, oh no, Lamar. No.
My question is, you know what, let's just talk about Lamar now.
Okay, let's go ahead.
So, first of all, aren't any of his teammates in his ear like, bro? Like, say you and I played for the Ravens, okay? And, we're both probably going to be, tailbacks or receivers because, we have that body type.
Got speed. Got a lot of speed in this body somewhere.
Yeah, they measured my 40 with a calendar. Yeah. So, if you were doing this, and say I'm like another, superstar player, or maybe one that just left the team.
Marlon Humphrey, Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah.
Okay, big
and I'm
contracts.
Like, dude, what are you doing? You need an agent. These guys you're going in there. Would you let your friend go to court on a serious criminal charge and represent himself? What happens to that guy?
Right.
They go to jail. They lose. Mm-hmm. Very rarely does someone go to court and represent themselves and like, damn, that guy did a great job.
Right. We're really well educated. Yeah. Much better than a lawyer.
So, or if you were buying a house, like, and it's a complicated deal, you're going to want to have some sort of representation, right?
Yeah.
And everyone would be like, dude, you're an idiot. What are you doing? Isn't anyone telling him this?
You know the counter argument, though. Well, Roquan did it. Yeah, Laramie Tunsil did it, and he got one of the highest offensive tackle paydays, and Roquan got the highest middle linebacker payday in the league. So why not have a quarterback do it? And here's why. Deshaun Watson got $240 million guaranteed after not playing a down the year before and also having some very strong allegations that publicly look horrible.
Yeah, he's getting handies from all the, not even the training staff, like
masseuses.
Yeah,
random masseuses on Facebook, just getting them from everywhere. Like he's buying off a Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, right. That's why he has an account. Because he wants to go get.
He's
some
not
handies.
looking at old Yukons.
No, no, he's not. I have literally bought my Yukon off of Facebook Marketplace. He got 200. If I'm Lamar, I'm also thinking, well, if he can get 240 million guaranteed up front day one, why can't I?
I haven't done any of the shit that guy did.
I have done none of the off-field garbage. I played some last year, at least.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I might have missed some games, but I didn't miss an entire season.
Right.
Because of my off-field stuff.
Antics.
Because it was such a huge PR hit, the team told me to go home. Yeah. Of course you're going to think you can negotiate that. He probably walked in and be like, look, man, that guy, he sucks. He sucks as a person. I'm a good person and I'm a good quarterback. So why don't we just make this easy? Give me $245 million guaranteed. We can wrap this up. And Eric DeCosta is like, no. And he's like, what? And he was, at that point, then it's like, that A-team, like when they kind of like pantomime over. This is when he knew he was in trouble. That was the point. Lamar said, like, oh man, this might not be great. But then he still didn't hire an agent. Like, the reason why Deshaun got that contract is because he had an agent playing multiple teams off of each other.
Yeah.
Cleveland had to make that contract because he was going to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to go to Cleveland. They're the Browns.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be the worst franchise in the NFL which was why they left Cleveland in the first place to become the Baltimore Ravens. And when they came back as the Cleveland Browns, they were even worse than that.
Yeah.
Like,
And then, they're there with the Redskins. I mean,
at least the Redskins won in the 80s.
yeah. Have the Browns won anything?
Nothing. They won when they got Jim Brown. They had Jim Brown. Didn't win anything. It's almost as comical as the Detroit Lions. Like, everyone thinks the Lions are this horrible franchise, and don't get me wrong, they haven't won anything either.
Yeah.
But Cleveland hasn't won anything, and they've been really bad for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Even with good players. So, if Jimmy Haslam, who owns the Browns, wanted to get a franchise-level quarterback, he had to go get the biggest PR mess in the league and overpay it.
Right. But he had done that before when they drafted Johnny Football in the first round.
Yeah, that was fun.
Right? You did what? Now, I think people that know football know there's such a big difference. Anyone who saw Johnny Football playing in college was like, yeah, that's not an NFL quarterback. Like, right. It's not happening.
Right.
Now, the average dope that looks at football on, I watch it on Saturday and Sunday, is like, oh, he's going to be good. Look at him run around like that little feller. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anyone who kind of seriously is into the game is like, that's just, no.
Like, he was 5'6" with small hands.
Yeah.
You're not, what? He's not fast per NFL standards.
Right.
He was fast for Big 12 standards, maybe.
Yeah.
He only had to play Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And by the way, yes, Texas A&M was in the Big 12 before they went to the SEC. He was not the SEC Big 12. No. He was not in, or Texas A&M. He wasn't in that one. He was in the Big 12 one where he had 2 to 3 tough games a year, maybe. And then he was playing like, to be honest with you, I don't even know who was in the Big 12. Like, what? It wasn't Oklahoma. I can't even tell you another team in the Big 12 other than Oklahoma, Texas. I guess Oklahoma State.
Yeah. But
you played Kansas.
Right.
Kansas State, which
basketball schools.
Right. That's what the Big 12 is. Big 12 is basketball.
Yeah.
But yeah, the guy was the guy made his money off of PR. That's how he got drafted so high.
Yeah.
And the Browns are going to Brown. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Haslam's like, nope, I bought this team. I paid a lot of money for it. I'm bringing in a franchise quarterback. And he had to overpay. Because Deshaun Watson was not going there.
And I still don't get. It's just this ownership, fan base obsession with the elite. They all want the superstar, future Hall of Fame quarterback. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Drew Brees. But you know what? You don't necessarily need that guy to win. And you can win without that guy. Now, the Ravens did it dumb, too. Like, they won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco and then came out and gave him a stupid contract.
They had to, though.
Yeah.
Because Flacco was right off the heels of Kyle Bowler. Mm-hmm. Right? And everyone in Baltimore knows what a mess that was. You can't go through that again. So you got a quarterback. He bet on himself. He didn't sign the extension before his last year was up. Bet on himself. Won a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. If they didn't pay him that stupid money, somebody else was, and then we're back to Kyle Bowler days.
Yeah.
And they still had a lot of young talent on that team. So they were trying to keep it rolling. And then Joe forgot how to play quarterback and decided to throw pickles all the time. So Joe got his money, got comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, happens, whatever. But from the Ravens' perspective, you had to pay him. You could not pay him.
Yeah.
I would say, what are there, 32 NFL teams? Or 30? I forgot the number.
32.
There's not 32 starting NFL quarterbacks laying around. You maybe get 17 to 20. So that means 12 teams are searching. They're either rookies that are coming in and needs time to grow, or you got a journeyman. Look at the Commanders.
Yeah.
The WTFs.
Yeah.
You got Carson Wentz, who failed at 2 other teams. Mm-hmm. moved on to Taylor Heineke. You know, kudos to that dude. He got the most out of his talent, but he's not a star quarterback.
He doesn't have the arm for it.
Barely even a starter. Even the games he was winning, it wasn't because of them. Yeah. It was because of the defense.
And then they were playing. And the thing is, not as not a Commanders fan, but I liked watching them play, especially when they got that hot streak where they're like, "Hey, what's this team doing?" And they were playing old school, run it up your gut, smash mouth football, and I loved it. They were putting together like 11-minute drives where they didn't throw the ball one time, and they'd score a touchdown. Like, that's old school stuff. Of course, the fans don't, because it's not exciting passing with stupid nonsense, but it was cool to watch. They just controlled the clock. All the quarterback had to do was hand it off to the running back. That's all he had to do.
Yep.
Like, there was no call the play and go in there and snap the ball. I enjoyed it, but it's not exciting for the average, just casual football person.
No, and it's like, I mean, the main point of this is that Lamar should have gotten an agent, paid him the 3% or whatever it was. Like, just you got to eat the cost. You're gonna be, especially if he could have gotten you the $245 million guaranteed versus what's being reported. So the reported amount was $133 guaranteed for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
If he was on the roster for the 4th year, the guarantee was up to $185, and the penalty for them to cut him was like a stupid cap hit number, like $70 million cap hit number.
Yeah.
So that means they were never going to cut him. So in my mind, the 185 was actually guaranteed. Then someone decided it was guaranteed, but he'd have to wait for the second pot of money.
Yeah.
But there was no way they were going to cut him because the cap hit they'd have to take was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next amount, I think, was like 210, 220 they called it a springing guarantee. But there was no shot he was going to be on the team by then.
Yeah.
So that 200 plus number was not a number. And so they were trying to get him to 185 guaranteed, which was more than Russell Wilson, more than Kyler Murray. It was more than everyone but Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like Lamar Jackson's looking at Deshaun Watson. That's what I should get. But you're looking at a PR disaster quarterback playing for a freaking hot mess dumpster fire of a team that has been a dumpster fire for years. And that's what you think you're going to get? Like, hey, you just weren't that guy that got lucky to end up with those stupid people at the right time.
Right.
And so, are there any other teams that are expressing interest in him? Now, he might know that if he had an agent.
Right.
They could bounce that around.
I heard the Colts are interested.
Mm-hmm. But are they interested in Deshaun Watson money?
Don't know. Right now, I think what they're doing, if they call to even ask him, they're gonna ask what the floor is.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna use the leaked information. If it's accurate, if it's not accurate, the floor is not the floor anymore.
Yeah.
What if the floor is now 150 over 3, which I think was what the Aaron Rodgers deal was.
Mm-hmm.
That it was basically $50 million a year, but it wasn't guaranteed. So it's like I don't know what you do. If I'm Lamar, I get an agent because the Ravens are playing the PR game very well, and they really haven't had to say anything because the Players Association leaked the contract details, thinking that it would make fans mad at the Ravens for not offering him close to what Deshaun Watson got. Instead, it backfired.
Well, I think the average fan kind of knows. Anyone who's paying half attention, they know the Browns are trash, and they know Deshaun Watson probably isn't worth that money. And they know the only reason he got that money is because it was the Browns.
Right.
So they're like, we're a better organization than the Browns. So, like, no. And I think it's kind of blew up in their face because, listen to like the Big Bad Morning Show. No one's really calling in to say, pay that man his money. Earlier in the season, they were. But now, those calls are not as frequent as they once were.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that think I thought they should have paid him the money. And if I were them, I would do 180, or what is it, 100 and, shoot. I think it's 185, whatever it was, over 4 years. Whatever that is. Mm-hmm. I think it's like $46, $47 million a year. Guaranteed. Give him the 4th year. Because no one else is going to offer him that. He can hang his hat and say he's got the highest amount of guaranteed money, actual guaranteed money, other than Deshaun Watson. I mean, because when Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson signed their contracts, they reset the market. They pulled it back down because they signed after Deshaun did. Now, the other part about this is if I was Lamar, I would have tried to gotten the exclusive franchise tag, because that was, I think, instead of $32 million, I think it was like 40 or 42. Mm-hmm. Played on that, because what are you gonna do? You gonna tear your ACL? Guess what? That injury isn't a big one anymore.
Yeah,
someone will still sign you to a big contract. Mm-hmm. So you take the $45 million guaranteed. You wait for Joe Burrow to sign his contract. He's going to reset the market.
Yeah,
the guy's been to what, 2 AFC championship games the last 2 years?
Yeah, and a Super Bowl.
So one AFC championship and a Super Bowl, which I guess is 2 AFC championships, because you
have to go there.
So he's going to reset the market, because other than the year when he got hurt, the first year, he's been healthy since then, and that was an ACL, by the way.
Yeah,
Lamar hasn't finished the last 2 seasons. You weren't there to get your team to the playoffs. When you're on the field, you make the Ravens a playoff team.
Yeah.
The problem is that nobody can run that offense at 80% of what you ran it at. So therefore, when you're gone, the team's out of the playoffs now.
Yeah. They need 2 of him.
Yes. Like, he got them to 10 wins. What did they get? 1 more?
Yeah.
Just to squeak into the playoffs. And no offense to Tyler Huntley, but we saw what that dude was.
Yeah.
In the last 4 minutes of a game with the team down, he makes horrible decisions. Like, he's not even throwing to the Ravens jersey color. And if you're not going to, if you can't find someone to run your offense at 80% of what your starter does, it's not sustainable. Right. You need 2 quarterbacks. I'm sorry, you do. It's easier to replace, what's the kid out in San Diego? LA. Justin Herbert?
Yes.
It's easier to replace him because of the style he plays. Mm-hmm. It's easier to replace a Russell Wilson. Look at Seattle.
Yeah. Or look at Dallas. Dak Prescott was out.
Right.
I think they played better with the red-haired kid they have.
Right.
And, it's easier to replace. You can't. Lamar Jackson's a unique entity. It's hard to.
That kid in Dallas played so well. They were actually trying to start a quarterback controversy of whether he would start when he got back.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you have a quarterback that you can scheme around, who's a little bit more of a statue than Lamar, but your backup is at least 80 to 85% of what your starter is. Mm-hmm. If your starter gets hurt, you don't fall off a cliff like the Ravens do.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to bash Tyler Huntley because, he's a Pro Bowl quarterback. No, he's a Pro Bowl quarterback because every other quarterback in the AFC passed.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm good. Yeah. I'm not going to that.
Right.
It was Derek Carr and Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
And Derek Carr got sent home for the last 2 games. Healthy. Nah, bro, we're good. We're going to go with Jarrett Stidham over you, even though you're a 4-time All-Pro and like, you've been in the top 5 for MVP 3 times.
Yeah.
You go on home. We're going to try this guy. We're going to try Jarrett Stidham out because he was with me on the Patriots as the 3rd-string quarterback, and I'm Josh McDaniels, and I'm stupid. So you got those 2 as your AFC representatives at All-Pro. So don't throw that All-Pro garbage at me.
Right. So essentially, you had a backup and a free agent.
Yes. Yes. Now, I don't know if that's because the All-Star, the NFL All-Star
game. It's like
the
idiot that drafts like RG3 in your fantasy draft as a joke. That's what they did.
I'm drafting Antonio Brown this year, guys. Gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Just give us your money now. You just wasted a draft pick. See, and there's no way Lamar will ever hear this, so it doesn't matter. Get an agent, my man, or play on this franchise tag. You chalk this up as an L, and wait till Joe Burrow signs. Hope you stay healthy next year.
Yeah,
because Todd Monken is going to throw the ball more than Greg Roman did. Monken's the new offensive coordinator for the Ravens. If you're going to be able to show if you can pass the ball in this league, because if you can, your value just went way up. Because, and I know people are going to say, well, at Louisville, he was a 74% passer. Yeah, well, in the NFL,
different.
He was missing wide open dudes.
Yeah.
Downfield. Like I'm
the
talking
only
about,
reason he hit Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews is enormous.
Yeah, you're 6'6", 290. Well, and then people on Twitter,
it's literally like hitting a door.
Yeah. Well, and people on Twitter are like, well, they only gave him Pat Ricard to throw to, and Mark Andrews. Well, Mark Andrews is 6'6", 250, and Pat Ricard's 6'3", and probably about 385 pounds.
Yeah,
you can't miss them.
He's a guard who plays fullback,
and they probably. Like they give him the huge sticky gloves and probably put like 10 coats of stickum on it so he could catch the ball.
Yeah.
And then nobody wants to get in front of the guy. So
right.
Throwing the ball to Pat Ricard is a 10-yard hitch every time.
I mean, you could have those guys out there, with a 180-pound cornerback just coming at wide open throttle, and the quarterback is taking the worst of that impact.
Right. And most of them are going to make a business decision and not take any of that.
Yeah.
They're going to dive at his ankles and let him step on him. Like, thanks, man. I'm going to use him like the stepmaster thing. They use him like jazzercise.
Yeah.
I'm just going to step over you. Look, man, get your money while you can. Look, because the other thing they're saying now is that, and this is what's getting to the fans' nerves, is if he does sign this franchise tag at $32 million, his cap hit is $32 million for this year. If he signs a longer term deal, the cap hit's like 20 to 22. So you get about 10 to 12 million back. Mm-hmm. So you can sign a receiver.
Yeah.
Because you can go get DeAndre Hopkins out of Arizona, because he's already said he wants out, and they're fielding trade offers. You can get him for like a third round pick, third and the fifth, or second and the fifth, depending on how this works out, and restructure his contract. He already said he'd restructure it.
And these guys say, hey, dude, take less money for yourself. Let the team go out there and get some receivers, and let's put your name permanently burnt into the memory of football for life after you win. Go deep in the playoffs, because that's going to add value to you later on. To me, it's like, I mean, you used to see guys that would I think Tom Brady did it, renegotiated his deal to give the Patriots more money to bring in some more talent. So, let's do stuff like that. I always wonder who was in their ear for all this stuff.
Well, here's the thing. In my opinion, Lamar's thinking as a football player and not a businessman.
Yeah.
If you take less so the team can get you more people, and I'm not talking about a lot less, take about $3 to $4 million less. And to us, that sounds like crazy town, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money per year. But if I can go get a top-line wide receiver that'll make me look better, then I will get more endorsement deals off the field to make up that 4 to 5, and in fact probably get 15 to 20. So now I'm on the plus side of that, because that's what Tom Brady essentially did. That dude was selling Gillette razors with no facial hair for years. Mm-hmm. And Pat Mahomes is on almost every State Farm commercial with that hideous voice of his.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you can act in front of a camera. If you win, the money off the field comes in droves.
Well, Peyton Manning's still selling stuff.
Right. Still doing nationwide commercials.
Yeah.
If you have any type of personality, you'll make up the $4 to $5 million hit you take on your NFL contract and make it up in your endorsement deals.
Yeah. And even at, say, $32 million a season, that's still generational money.
Yep.
And I think the average person gets frustrated with some of these athletes. And it's like, that's still, if someone gave me $32 million, I'm set. My kids are set. Their kids are set. We're good.
Right.
And I'm still gonna have a good time. Well, so
there was a quarterback that said, I want to start. I think it was Heineke, actually. I want to start. I want to go to a place where I can start. But if I'm a backup, it's still the best job on earth.
Yeah, it's better than going to work at Sam's Club every day.
Well, I think that's where he was working in a grocery store.
Yeah.
Before they called him off the trash heap. And the guy's got perspective. Now, don't get me wrong. Do you want to give up all your earning potential? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying think of this from a different perspective. Think of this as a businessman. You're thinking of it as a football player.
Because Biscotti's thinking of it as a businessman.
Correct. And you know, people are like, oh, why are you siding with billionaires, man? Billionaires got less in common with you than Lamar. Trust me, none of these people got anything in common with me.
Right.
They got their tax bracket is ridiculous compared to mine.
Yeah.
So I certainly don't relate to Bisciotti, but I don't relate to Lamar either.
Yeah.
But I do relate to the team. So I want what's best for the team. Not that I'm like banging down the door. I'm not that kind of fan, but I'm a fan. I want to see them win.
Yeah.
And if that means the quarterback gets a little bit less so we can put the money in other things, I'm all for that. So yeah, maybe I'm more on Bisciotti's side because he's on the team side. And that's kind of where I fall. It's like, hey, Lamar, either sign the longer term deal and help the team out, and still get your money. Get your think about 133 million guaranteed day one.
Yeah.
For 3 years. Let's say they do take that enormous cap hit and cut him. They're not going to, but let's say they do. So that means you're still under 30, still in the prime of your career, and you're now going to negotiate a contract with 3 years of contracts behind you?
Yeah.
Of other people getting contracts, other people getting paid? You're going to get paid more on that one than this one.
Yeah.
But what he's done now that everything leaked, he looks bad.
Yeah.
You're hurting your value off the field now. Mm-hmm. Never mind the fact that he's trying to hawk these home gym, it was the travel gym. It like the videos, like it says like B-rate. It was literally like Uncle Rico's video from Napoleon Dynamite. Like it looked like it was shot on a VHS tape, and it looks like he just puts a yoga mat out. It has like the carrying case on the turf, and he pulls out something that looks like a shake weight, and is just doing ab rolls on it, side to side with the shake weight thing.
Is this the one that Florida Man is?
Yes. So? Yeah. That's who he's in business with. So Lamar's the pitch man, and this guy is the one that came up with the idea, which is essentially, hey, I'm gonna put like four dumbbells in this package with the yoga mat. I call it the travel gym. And Lamar's like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll pitch it for you. I want 50%, but I'm going to pitch it.
Yeah.
You're going to get 50% of $10.
Yeah.
Because no one's buying that. That's a bad business move.
Yeah. And then you're going to, like, who's going to want to pay you to sell their stuff? Remember in Jerry Maguire, when the wife of the football player that was that Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Yeah.
Gooding Jr., that was the football player. She's like, we want the big three: cars, sneakers, and I forget what the other one. It was like fast food or something was the big three for endorsements.
Yeah.
If you're putting your name on Florida Man's home gym,
yeah,
I don't think Mercedes-Benz is gonna.
No.
Or
yeah, you're not hucking anything worth money. Hey Lamar, is this what do we see you on the 8mm video track here? Yeah, I don't think we can get behind you.
Yeah, you might pick up like some of Brett Favre's like Tommy Copper.
Tommy Copper. Yeah. What else did he do? Did he do an Advil commercial after he was addicted to Advil?
After he was addicted to freaking Oxy.
Oh, was it Oxy? I thought he was like addicted to Advil.
I think addicted to Advil. That's probably what he told everyone, but it was like straight up pills. Right. And then sending dick pics to like the training staff. Come on, bro.
He ended up being such a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, wow. You went downhill real quick.
I'm seeing Aaron Rodgers like,
Oh, yeah.
Green Bay Packers to the Jets.
Right. All over again. And like, can we predict this now?
With mushrooms.
And ayahuasca. He's out in the jungle getting freaking stoned right now. He went to the jungles of the Amazon.
Tripping balls. Just for the Jets.
Going on Rogan talking about how he had an amazing journey. Oh my God. Like, dude, I'm all for it. I mean, I kind of get into some of the hippy dippy shit. I'm like, man, do you, but man, you sound a little crazy right now.
Yeah.
Like, he goes in the Pat McAfee show. He does not sound all there. Like, he sounds a little pompous when he's doing it too. Like, he's like, ooh, that's a bad look, man.
He's like a smart dude.
Yes.
I think did he go to Cal?
He went to Cal. Yeah.
Like, he's from California anyway, so he probably has a lot of that hippie stuff's probably baked in the cake, you know. And he had to have the clean cut look and stuff for so many years. But now he's like going through his midlife.
Right.
He's like, you know, he had the long hair and he looked like Jesus with a mustache. And then now he's playing for the Jets, like just like Brett Favre did. Rather than pain pills, it's psychedelics.
Which, by the way, if there was a second worst franchise to go to than the Browns,
the Jets.
It would be the Jets.
I mean, except the Jets are kind of looking like a decent team, but they're going to fuck it up. It's just a matter of time.
The Jets will jet. Just like the Browns will brown, the Vikings will Viking, and the Jets will jet.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
And it's sad when people outside of your city don't think of you as better than the Bengals, who have the nickname the Bungles.
Yeah.
You're not better than that.
Right.
Which everyone in New York's like, what do you mean, man? My team's awesome.
Jets fans are ridiculous.
They're horrible.
Because every year, they all think the team is the best team going. And, you know, Jets, Jets. And they're so obnoxious. And they suck every single year. You think they're having a good year, and then, nope, they suck. The real football organization in New York is the Giants, and everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets are like the sideshow. And they're just bad. They're consistently bad, and you're just waiting for them to screw it up.
Yeah, Woody Johnson has not made a good decision with that franchise. Sorry, just hasn't happened. I mean, your biggest accomplishment in the last 20 years is the butt fumble with Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan. Why you got rid of Rex Ryan, I don't know.
Yeah,
because he was the draw to get people to watch your team.
He was a quintessential Jet. Like, he's like loud, obnoxious, fat. Yeah. Like, everything that he could be that would signify, like, represent Jets fans, he did. Like, he was a Jet fan. He had to have been a Jet fan.
I mean, short of being the Philadelphia Eagles head coach, he was perfect for that job.
Oh, yeah.
For the Jets job.
Yeah.
Why you don't have a Rob or a Rex Ryan leading that team? Like, I think they got rid of him for what? Adam Gase? That guy?
Yeah, and then he went to the Bills.
Did he do the Bills first?
I know he did. He did.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know. But at least it would have been, like, at least your post-game conferences would have been entertaining for the losses.
Right.
Because there's a lot of losses. So
there's plenty to choose from.
I mean, what are they saying, Gladiator? Are you not entertained? No, right now I'm not. When Rex Ryan was here, yes, I was.
Yeah.
Well, now you suck and no one's watching you.
Right.
You were now relegated to second fiddle, as always, to the New York Giants.
Yep. Jets. They even play in the same building.
Right.
Suck.
Well, and that's kind of switching gears on that. I think the L.A. Chargers need to get out of L.A. because they're playing on the Rams' home field.
So why did they go? It's like all of a sudden they all wanted to move to L.A. L.A. is not a football town. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a basketball town. It's a bunch of transients. There's zero personality. It's just vapid. L.A. is more of a hockey city than it is a football town.
Yeah.
And San Diego, they moved. First of all, like when the municipalities and the cities are like, no, screw you, we're not building you a new stadium. Good. As a taxpayer, like in the state of Maryland, we paid for 2 enormous stadiums to be built. 3 if you include Camden Yards, which I love. So I'm going to leave them out of there because I like it. And I'm allowed. So I can be fickle. No one else has standards. Why should I?
Right.
But, like we paid for M&T Bank. We paid for FedEx Field. So when these cities say, no, we're not building a new stadium, and the teams leave, okay, but they go to L.A.?
Yeah, so I think San Diego went to L.A. because of the stadium issue.
Yeah.
The Rams went to L.A. because Stan Kroenke owned land there, and he wanted to own. I think he owns that stadium. I don't know how much money he got, but I think he kind of pulled the Jerry Jones deal, where I think Jerry flipped most of that bill. I think he might have gotten some tax breaks, but I think it was like over $1 billion to build that thing. And the thing is, he put up most of it.
And the owners like to pitch it as, well, it's good for the economy. No, it brings low-paying seasonal jobs in. Like, oh, the stadium employs X amount of hundreds of workers. Yeah, parking attendants and people to run food back and forth. Like, these aren't All the Redskins career people all work in Ashburn.
Yeah, I know. But the other part of it is because people are going to go to games, they're going to go to the businesses around the stadium.
There are none in Landover.
Well, for Landover, because but think about Baltimore. Like when the Inner Harbor was hopping, you had the Hooters there. You had like I forgot the seafood joint there. There were a lot. There's Pickles Pot. I mean, there's a lot going on around there.
Yeah,
and those businesses made or broke by the sports fans going downtown.
Yeah.
And then
it's literally the only reason to go down there.
Right. But then you got the sidewalk vendors. I mean, look, I would say you probably got about another 100 businesses that depend on that.
Yeah.
But here's the weird part, though, and this is kind of what Jerry did with Jerryland, was that he owned the land for the stadium and the land around the stadium. So essentially, he's like, screw this. All these other people aren't going to profit off my team. I'm going to profit more off my team. I'm going to put the restaurants in. I'm going to put all the entertainment stuff around me in.
Mm-hmm. The hotels and all that. Yeah.
I'm going to profit.
Yeah.
Like, he got smart, and I think that's what Stan Kroenke's doing.
Mm-hmm. Now, that stadium in L.A. is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
That thing's cool.
It's amazing. But there should only be one L.A. team, because if the Rams didn't win that Super Bowl, they might have had as many fans as the Raiders did before they left, and the Rams before they left.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted to see them.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many other entertainment options out in LA that pro sports isn't one of them.
Yeah.
College fun, USC football is big.
Because there's USC, there's UCLA.
Yeah.
Then you've got, you have two hockey teams.
Yeah.
Because you've got the Kings and the Ducks. Baseball, you've got the Dodgers and the Angels. Basketball, the Lakers and the Clippers. Yeah. So they're all, like, it's essentially, it's the only city that has two of every major league sports team there is.
Yeah. I mean, LA doesn't really, the Anaheim Angels of whatever, Angels of Anaheim.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Thank you. They don't draw. The Dodgers draw. Yeah. The Dodgers are LA's team.
Yeah.
Although Brooklynites might disagree with you, but they've been in LA long enough. That's LA's team. Mm-hmm. At least to the people there. The Angels, they have probably two of the best generational talents in the game.
Oh yeah, Trout and Ohtani.
Yeah, and they had Pujols off of that St. Louis years, which he ended up crapping the bed, but whatever. Still didn't get people to go to the stadium. Now, it didn't help that they had all this talent and they still lost, which blows my mind. Mm-hmm. But LA, yes, they put two teams from almost every sport in LA. I don't think it can support two teams for every sport. I just don't see it, because the second team always gets crapped on. If I'm the owner of the Chargers, I look to go back to San Diego on whatever stadium deal I can get.
Yeah.
Because playing second fiddle, unless you're just going to dominate, and they don't, I don't see your upside.
Yeah.
But
build a smaller stadium, like something like Seattle has, or something like, even like M&T Bank. Those aren't big, huge monstrosities. It's not SoFi or Jerry World. Like, they're kind of intimate. They fit in the downtown area. San Diego is freaking awesome, by the way. The weather is perfect. The food is awesome. It's right by the ocean. Like,
well, the weather's even better than LA.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like 75 degrees there all the time.
Yeah. The difference is when you have one of those teams, like in Seattle, going to the game is an experience in itself. Mm-hmm. Not the football game, but being at the stadium, having it be that loud. I'm sure the tailgating is fantastic.
Yeah.
That is the experience you're selling. The football secondary, right? If you're not one of these powerhouse teams, and you're never going to be, that's what you need to sell your team as. Yeah. And then once every 10 years or so, or for 2 to 3 years in that 10-year window, you got to make a push to keep the fan base in it.
Yeah.
But throughout the wins and the losses, you got to keep that atmosphere. You got to let people bring in cheap snacks and stuff. I mean, let them know that they're welcome versus dollar signs to you. And once you do that, you'll never have problems filling your stadium.
And build a stadium that's nice enough that they have the Super Bowl there so often.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that outside in a northern stadium though, but they can do it down in San Diego.
San Diego, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
They, you can have big bowl games there, things like that that can be used because, I mean, essentially, playing in San Diego is like playing in a dome because the weather's always perfect.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we were going to do football for like 10 minutes. 45 minutes.
Wow, there we go.
It's almost the whole damn show. But Lamar, get an agent. Sign something you can live with. But the fans are starting to turn. You can see it on Twitter. You see it on the radio. It's starting not to go your way, man. And
one more thing about the agent.
Yeah.
Remember Willis McGahee?
Yeah.
And when he broke his leg with Ohio State?
Dude, that was gross.
And everyone's like, dude, he's done.
Yep.
And then his agent pretending to take phone calls and stuff and he ends up as a not number one, but a first round draft pick.
That was Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah. That's what agents do for you, bro. Like,
yeah.
Pay the 3%.
He got a running back with one leg drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
That's an agent.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying go with Joe Schmuck down the road. I'm saying get you an agent.
or Florida man.
Yeah, don't get Florida man. This is generational money. And like I said, we're not like we obviously didn't say go get your max. But an agent can advise you on how to be a business as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Not just an NFL quarterback. Because they have ties in with other representation for other industries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how that works. And you not being represented by anybody is taking you out of that. Now, apparently, he's trying to start his own entertainment company and this, that. Like, look, man, I get you're trying to take care of everybody. And you're probably trying to employ a whole bunch of people. But you got to take care of you first to get to that level where you are a bit, like Jay-Z said, I'm a businessman, not a businessman, or whatever. Yeah, I think that's what the quote was. But you got to build yourself into that first. Then you can take care of everybody. Everyone real close to you is going to be all right based off of that NFL money.
Yeah.
Then you can expand and get all your boys in and whatnot and take care of them once you're the business.
Yeah.
And then you bring them in with the entertainment company. Then you bring them in with a real estate company. I mean, that's what LeBron James did basically.
Mm-hmm.
What Maverick Carter was his high school basketball teammate. Now he's the head of one of the biggest sports representation agencies on the planet. Because LeBron made his name.
Yeah.
They own a film production company. Like, I don't know if you ever watched some of these cartoons that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And on the beginning credits, it says a Braun production. That's LeBron James.
Yeah.
He's literally making movies. He's making more off the field than he is on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or off the court or whatever. Magic Johnson's another one.
Yeah.
Dude owns like 30 movie theaters.
Yep.
He owns part of the Dodgers, for crying out loud. The guy's made more money in business than he ever made on the court.
Yep.
He's being a little short-sighted with this.
He's playing the short game.
Yeah,
he needs
absolutely.
To play the long game.
And again, that's what an agent stops you from doing. So, Lamar, get an agent, or at least someone who can advise you on how to be a business man. All right. 10 minutes. What do we want? We want to do Orioles, or we want to save the Orioles for another day? I think there's a little bit to kind of get into there.
Well, you know more about it than me.
A little bit. It's just a matter of like who's coming up, who's not. I don't know the specific names. I'm just saying like there's a parallel to the Astros here that we can get into.
Yeah. Yeah. What about what's going on with your truck?
Oh yeah, that fun. So last episode we were talking about how like I'm kind of in a Hoovie's garage situation where I buy a clunker that I didn't know was a clunker.
At least you didn't buy an 09 BMW M5.
Correct. And I didn't buy a Land Rover.
There's a reason that M5 cost you $8,000.
All right, so I bought this thing because I thought it would be reliable. I bought it for the engine, of all things, because I thought the engine would be reliable. It's a 6.0 liter V8. Same V8, same Vortec family of V8s GM's put in vehicles for centuries. Or hundreds of years? That's a century. 50, whatever. This is not an intelligence show. So anyway, so the initial quote I got, I think I told you guys last time, $3,500. I talked to the mechanic. Doesn't negotiate prices, understandable. I get you. But I talked to him on the phone, and he said, "Look, the oil pan gasket is not like it's not a river. He goes, it's just seeping. He goes, you don't need to do it right now.
Right. So it doesn't look like an old radial aircraft engine where if it's leaking oil, it's got oil in it. That's a good sign.
Right. So he basically said, look, I'm going to clean off the oil pan and the area around the oil pan. Check your oil once a month. Make sure you got enough oil in it. He goes, in 6 months when you come and get your oil changed, because I usually change it every 6 months regardless of how many miles I drive. Mm-hmm. He goes, I'll check underneath to find out how bad it is. And he goes, worst case scenario, we do it then, but at least you've spaced your payments out, because that was like a $600-something job right there alone. Then $450 was for the seat switches. And he said, look, he goes, I know you know that part is probably $20 or $30 on eBay. And I'm charging you $300 for 2 switches. And he's like, you should try that one yourself. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you know what? Good on you.
Yeah.
He said, in fact, you probably don't even need the switches. He says, pull off the plate or the side panel, spray them with contact spray. So like it's like an electronic spray. Mm-hmm. Like it's how I fixed the HVAC knobs.
Yeah.
And it worked. He's like, do that, and they'll probably the motor will probably come back on. He goes, worst case scenario, you pay $40 for 2 switches. You swap out the switches, and the motors. Chances are the motors are still good. I was like, okay, so that's going to save me a ton of money there. So now I got the bill down to about $2,400, which is much more palatable for me.
Yeah.
He said, well, and I told him, I said, look, I want to get the misfires on the engine fixed because there's 4 cylinders misfiring on an 8-cylinder engine. I said, because if the engine's shit, I don't want to do the rest of this.
Yeah.
He goes, well, that makes sense. So they did spark plugs and ignition wires. He took out the spark plugs, and he's like, if they're new, I'll just put them back in. He goes, if they're not, we'll swap them out. So they swapped out 8 spark plugs, because apparently they were like old as shit. Mm-hmm. And did the wires because they were in bad shape. Didn't fix the misfire though. So then he said, look, I got to charge another $150 to do the smoke test, and we'll find out if there's a vacuum leak somewhere or a leak somewhere as far as air goes. So they did, and it looked to him like the PCV valve was leaking. Mm-hmm. It was a bad PCV valve. So they replaced that, and that solved the misfire. Oh, so the engine is now not misfiring.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the brake booster. They call it Hydro Boost on GM vehicles because we need brakes, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
Let's see. We're doing that. The oil change, the air filter, the cabin filter. We're going to do. We are going to do the alternator. Was bad, so we're going to do that. Let's see, what else is there? The shocks were fine, apparently. The front and rear pinion seals need to be done. So let's see, we got alternator, engines done, front and rear pinion seals, and what was the other one? Alternator, right?
You said that.
There should be a 4th thing besides the engine, air filter, oil filter. I can't remember what it was now. But that's what's being done. And so for $2,500, I'll be all right. Mm-hmm. I'll just keep an eye on the oil. We'll see if that's got to get done. And then I already bought some leather dye. So I got 2 spots in the driver's seat where it's just worn. It's not ripped. It's just worn a little bit. Discolored.
Yeah.
So there's a company that does. They get your original color codes off your VIN. So they did that. They sent me both colors. The dark color will be for the seat, but I got the lighter color, and I'm going to use it on the steering wheel because the steering wheel's got some rubbing. It's just got. I mean, it's 19 years old. It's got some wear on it. So I'm going to re-dye the steering wheel, which for what I'm going to use this for, it's fine.
Right.
So I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to do the, let's see, headlight bulb replacement for brighter headlights. Oh, I forgot, the upper control arm was the other thing he's fixing.
Okay.
Because that's what the popping was when I was turning at low speeds. So I'm doing headlights, the power seat switches, and then the front seat and the steering wheel die. The rest of it, like the rear license plate fastener, I can go get that too. Other stuff I'm going to kind of put to the side. Mm-hmm. So I still want to do the head unit. I think I'm just going to buy it through Crutchfield. I think I'm going to pay for the pre-wiring of all the bits and pieces, just to save me the time.
Yeah, you just plugging it in.
Yeah, and that way I don't have to do I don't have to do the soldering. I don't have to the shrink things with the solder in there already. I just don't have to do any of that. I don't want to bother with it. I could probably get a head unit for like $500-$600. I could probably go cheaper than that if I wanted to. But I read reviews and I get sucked into it, and I read one guy's bad review, and I'm like, oh.
You know, it's funny when I look at used cars. If I see an aftermarket head unit, I'm almost immediately turned off.
I'm the opposite. Yeah. I'm like, yes, this guy already did it. Let me get in there.
I look at it and I'm like, that doesn't look right. You know, he probably has some ridiculous, stupid subwoofers in the back of this thing. Yeah. He probably has Dynamat all over the place. Like, nope. Like, if I see him, I'm like, nah.
To me, it's job done. Great. I don't have to do this. Unless it's singled in. I'm like, then what the hell did you do?
Yeah, but my thing is, like, I'm good with... Because I don't listen to a whole lot of music. All my nav, even in my car that has in-dash nav, I just use my phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a little cup holder thing that holds the phone. For Bluetooth is nice, but if the car didn't have it, I can go buy one of those Bluetooth speakers that clips to the to the thing. I don't listen to a whole lot of music. I listen to podcasts, so I don't need like bass and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I put some music on. I listen to it, so I like it. I might eventually replace the speakers in the thing. Like, if this thing turns out to be, trusty more than rusty, I'll probably end up doing some projects.
Yeah,
and I'll try and do it myself, just because I can.
Yeah.
Especially as my my commitments elsewhere go down.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have some time to do work on this thing. I might swap out the rear bench, the middle row bench for captain's chairs, because that's an easy bolt in, bolt out thing.
Yeah.
It's just time, and the seats are kind of heavy, kind of a pain to move. The hood has one of those cowl hoods on it.
Yeah.
But it serves no purpose whatsoever. Apparently those cowl hoods are not cheap, so I could probably swap one with somebody that has the same color hood that I need, and probably get out of that even.
Yeah.
Go meet with the guy, and he helps me take mine off. I help him take his off.
And you help each other put them on.
And we help him put them on, because it's a 2-person job.
Yeah.
But it's 4 bolts.
Yeah.
That's it. The sunroof shade. So the sunroof shade liner, the carpet liner on the sunroof shade, is pretty much not attached. It sags a little bit. But the weird thing is, it only sags when it's cold, because that's when it contracts, right? So then you get the sagging, and then when it's warmer out, you wouldn't even know it's there. Like, you wouldn't even know it's sagging because it pulls tight again. Now, there's a video I found on YouTube of a guy that did it. It's 4 screws to pop out the sunroof, and then you just slide the thing out, and then you take off the liner, spray it with the spray adhesive, and you wrap it with new liner. Mm-hmm. It probably takes 40 to 50 minutes, and maybe a little bit longer because you got to wait for the glue to dry. But it's a real easy job. Yeah. I think it's like 4 screws, maybe a 5th, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So I might, eventually down the road, I might do it. But over the summertime, I'm probably not going to notice it.
Yeah.
I'm probably just going to forget it.
Or just slide that thing back and leave the sunroof open in the wintertime.
So the weird thing is, like, the noise inside is a lot different. Mm-hmm. Like, when it's inside, like, when you close it, it's almost coughing quiet. When you open it, you hear everything. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something that wouldn't bother me that much.
It's my
you're sounding pretty bougie right now.
I am, man. This is my luxury car.
Yeah.
The other weird thing is, so other things I want to do. what was it? I can't remember. Oh, the driver's seat stitching. There's like probably 2 inches of stitching that's off. Like it just pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I can get a heavy duty sewing needle, I can just sew it back myself. I know how to sew, but you need a fairly decent, sturdy needle.
The hole should still be there, though.
I think they are, but yeah. So maybe I wouldn't. But I mean,
I'll probably use one of those like a J hook type needle.
Yes.
That's round and you kind of go in, and so you can go in and come up.
Yep. But I think I can do that myself. Get some heavy duty thread. I mean, 2 inches of I know how, like I said, I know how to sew. So just doing it on a seat instead of a pair of pants or something. So, so I'll do that probably myself. If I eventually want to replace the headlights, I've watched like 3 YouTube videos. It's super easy to do. I'm like paying anyone to do that.
Yeah. Just make sure it all looks the same, because you see a lot of guys with those trucks, Tahoes, Yukons. They'll put like this stupid aftermarket LED tail lamps in. It just looks bad.
So this one has those.
Yeah.
And it does look bad.
Yeah.
I agree. I almost want to go back to stock.
Yeah.
Like
I'm a real purist. I like things. So if I had like a project car, say it was a classic car, I wouldn't do like a resto mod. If I was into racing, I might build a race car.
Yeah.
But then we're talking roll cage, tubbed out, like everything. Like this car's not daily driven. Like it almost has to be trailered to the track. Is how.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would be trying to go to as close to all original as I could, because I just think that's cooler. Like I don't. Some of the mods that people do, like, because I was into Camaros, so like people would replace the tail lamps. But they would go back, and they did it with Mustangs too, like Mustang GTs. They'd pull. Remember, like it was like almost like the checkerboard look, like it looked like it was behind a fence.
Yeah, yeah.
And the tail end of the GTs, they'd pull those off, and they'd put Mustang LX tail. It was a cleaner look. I like things that are clean.
Me too.
So I think that's where my aversion to the head unit comes from. I want the interior to look clean.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things, like even if it's a double din head unit, it just doesn't look right.
So here's the thing: those Denali's and the Escalades, they had, they had. I don't think they were touchscreen back then, but they did have the full screen.
Yeah.
So it'll look closer to stock.
So
than
I
you
used to
probably
have
think.
an 04. No, it was an 05 Envoy, and it had in-dash nav.
Yeah. So I mean, they make them with the screens.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be too out of place for it.
Yeah.
But it's funny you mentioned this going back to stock, because there's a guy on YouTube called his channel's LSX Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got, I believe, an 04 Tahoe. And he probably spent 3 years modifying it. Put some Escalade parts on it, put some bigger wheels on it, changed out the shocks for stiffer shocks on it. Changed the hood to what they call the HD hood style, from like a Sierra on it. Changed the bumper, the headlight, changed a whole bunch of stuff for the looks. He just did a video 3 months ago and said, I'm putting it all back to stock.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, because after all these modifications, it didn't ride and feel the way that I wanted it to, or it didn't drive like the car that I wanted to buy in the first place. I bought it. He's like, I bought this for a particular reason. I wanted something that could just glide and take miles and be very comfortable.
Yeah.
And he said, with the shocks, the tires, the wheels, it just didn't, like, he did not like driving it anymore.
Yeah.
And so he said, and I really don't like the way the looks have come out. Because, like, he changed the color match bumper, because he had a Z71. So he changed it, which is almost looks like a Denali a little bit, with the exception of some of the side cladding. Mm-hmm. But, like, he put, like, the circular tube side steps on, which don't look great to me, versus the running boards. Mm-hmm. He changed the color match bumper to a black bumper to make more rugged. He did LED headlights and tail lights, and it it looked different. And he's like, it just doesn't ride very well.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on who's buying and modifying it. Like he was making content with it, so he just kept modifying. For me, I'm trying to go back to as stock as possible, with the exception of the head unit. And then I may go up a little bit in wheels, just because I think, or no, maybe not wheels. I gotta think about that, because I think it's 17-inch wheels. But if they're 18s, I'll probably keep them the way they are, because you can get like the nice thick sidewalls, and that's part of what makes it ride so smooth.
Yeah, when you put those rubber band tires on it,
Yeah.
it kills the ride. That's like you see these people with the Escalades that have 24-inch rims on it with rubber band tires, and they ride like shit. So you took a vehicle that's built for a nice, comfortable ride, and you completely sabotaged it for nothing more than aesthetics.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same with the dudes that were into the tuner cars. So they would take off the stock rims, which a lot of times were steel. And if you look at the dudes that are really racing, they're running with steel rims. And they would put on these big chrome rims, and then so you're increasing the weight with all this rotational mass. They would. These are the same guys that would swap out body panels for carbon fiber body panels to make the car lighter, and then put 300 pounds of subwoofers and boxes and amps in the trunk.
Right.
So what are you doing here? Like, be consistent. Where the true like race car tuner car was, carbon fiber steel rims, interior gutted, like nothing in it to reduce weight, no sound system at all.
Yeah.
But there's people that are there for show and people that are there for go. So,
the one mod I would do that would not be stock, it is a little tall to get into at the ride height, at the stock ride height. Now, most people, they're dropping it 3 inches in the front, 4 inches in the rear, because there is a 2-inch offset front and rear.
Mm-hmm.
So they get it. They don't go flat, but they go just a less of a pitch. So I'm thinking, I don't want it to go low. I don't want to be down that low.
Yeah.
But I do want it lowered. So I'm thinking I might go down 2 inches in the front, 3 inches in the back. So there is just the 1-inch offset versus the 2-inch. Or I might do a 2 and 2 and keep the offset the same. Get it a little bit easier to get into. But then again, I might not.
Yeah.
Because if I do that, I got to replace the springs and the shocks, and I don't want to change the ride. Like, I want it to stay soft. I want it to stay smooth.
Yeah, you want to kill miles at.
Yeah. So I'd have to find out if I can get shocks that'll keep the ride smooth.
Right.
Because like one of these guys, they replaced the stock shocks with Bilsteins.
Mm-hmm.
They were considerably narrower. Like the other ones just looked big. Like the diameter on them was like a good third bigger. Like it just looked like it could take more punishment.
Mm-hmm.
But they're expensive shocks, so I have to figure it out, or I'll just leave it as is until the shocks need replacing, and then think about doing it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, there's no added cost other than replace the springs, and you might not even have to. I really don't know how that works, but
yeah, I don't know anything about it.
That'd be the last thing I would do, though. I don't know. I haven't driven it in like 2.5 weeks, so I would like to. I got to remember what it's like to be in there, and also I want to see how it feels when I'm driving at a lower position in the seat, because right now it's stuck at the highest position. Mm-hmm. So after I get the seat fixed and lower, and I can get myself in my driving position, I'll know how I feel about it better.
Right.
Trying to think, we forgot we didn't even talk about the whiskey.
No, we did not.
Let's let them know what we're drinking.
Yeah, so this is called Fistful of Bourbon, and again, it falls into that neat sub $30 range. But it's, let's see, it's actually blends 5 straight bourbon whiskeys. Ooh. So, let's see what it says here. But trying to see where it's made.
We've been drinking it throughout the show.
Yeah, I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm drinking it neat too.
Yeah. For me, compared to the other ones we've had, I probably wouldn't choose this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Taste wise, it's I don't know. I don't know if it's less smooth or what. Something about the taste of it, just not.
So maybe
up
this.
my alley.
So it says the balance is sweet, and then green leafy floral. This is all sounding like real hipsterish.
The bottle's hipster.
Soft spices, hints of nutmeg, buttery toffee, and cinnamon licorice.
I can get the like it's got a little bit of the bite of the cinnamon, like
Yeah.
a little bit of spice. It does have the spiciness to it.
Yeah, but it's 45. It's 90 proof.
Yeah.
With tax, it was $26, so you're not breaking the bank on it. If you don't, and that's why I like these, because if you don't like it, you just put it on your shelf.
Right.
Hey, you want a bourbon? Hey, try this one out.
I forgot the one we tried last. The last.
The
week.
one we tried last week was called Larceny.
That was about the same price though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 31, maybe 30. It's still in that. Like I said, I like that $30 price range because if you don't like it, you're not breaking the bank. And the thing is, if I spend $45-50 on a bottle of bourbon, it better be good.
Right.
And chances are it's going to have a name that someone like Woodford Reserve, or Angel's Envy, or Basil Hayden, whatever it is. Like they're going to recognize the name, so it makes you look for it. But I think it's cooler to find good stuff at this lower price range.
I agree. I'm just saying for the same price that the stuff we drank last week, I would drink the stuff we had last week.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Well, I drank that whole bottle, so it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
God damn. I mean, that shows how good it is, though.
Yeah. And I drank the whole bottle, and I drank the whole bottle neat.
That's and for $31, that's tough to beat. Mm-hmm. If you can, a fairly new whiskey drinker can drink it neat. Now I couldn't drink it neat, but I'm different.
You might just not like it neat.
I think
now Elijah Craig, I don't drink that neat.
Yeah.
It was funny. I started making these big ice cubes, not the purpose made spheres.
Yeah.
Those little paper cups that you take a pill with.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. I just fill it with water and freeze it, so it makes one big ice cube.
Yeah.
I just drop it in the glass, pour a couple fingers of bourbon over it, and then the ice lasts longer. It has less surface area, so it doesn't melt as fast. But that's how I have the Elijah Craig. I don't like drinking that neat, but this is neat. It's fine, just fine.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to be on the rocks for a while because I tried a whiskey neat one time or a couple times at that hipster whiskey bar in Annapolis that I talked about, and for me the acid reflux was worse afterwards.
Yeah.
Whereas when I drink it on ice or with ice, I don't get that. And I haven't gotten it with anything we drank when I've had it with ice. Mm-hmm. So I think for a while, I think I'm going to be a guy that drinks his with ice. But again, thank you to Cheers and Spirits in the Arnold Station Plaza. This won't be a pass for me.
Yeah.
But the last, and that's just because I if I'm comparing for this in the same price point, kind of given not the greater than less than drink or pass. I drink the other one over this one.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste bad though. I'm not saying hey, don't go get it.
Right.
Because I think for some people they might prefer this one because it is spicier.
Yeah.
And some people might like spicier. I'm not. I like more mellow.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Larceny was good. What was the one that I bought? That I brought over? Redemption. That was a little just too weak for me.
Yeah, but that tasted good.
Yeah. So that one was. When I had that on the rocks.
Yeah.
Now I would have drank it. I would have had it with whiskey stones to cool it off. But as far as doing it with ice, where the ice melts into it, it just watered it down too much. There wasn't enough there to water it down.
Yeah, I think that was a lower proof one too. I think that was an 85 versus this in the 90s. But that I remember really liking that one, and that was in that $30 range too. So I guess if I was choosing, I would have chose that one over the last two we've had. And I would choose the last one over this one, just because I'm not a spicy guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a cinnamon guy. If that's what that is.
Oh, cinnamon is my jam. If I buy gum, it's cinnamon. Toothpaste, cinnamon. Mouthwash, cinnamon.
Yeah.
Like I love cinnamon and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah. I don't want people to think that this is not a good bourbon though.
right.
For my taste buds, I would prefer something more mellow. But like if you're a cinnamon guy, this is probably more your jam.
Yeah.
And that's what that is. And that's another thing I'm learning. Like, yes, I like when I listen and read about bourbon and whiskey, I'm definitely realizing that it's a matter of taste buds. It's just like with anything else, right? So just because I'm saying I wouldn't choose this one over another one doesn't mean that someone else shouldn't. Someone else should choose. If this is in your wheelhouse for your tongue,
Yeah.
go for this one. This is not a bad bourbon at all. I'm not saying that. So I don't want the people at Fistful of Bourbon because you got to give them props for the name.
Yeah.
It is a hipster label though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some dudes with a beard, like a 3 foot or 1 full foot beard minimum,
Yeah.
is allowed to brew this whiskey.
Yeah. Or some chick that has like there's like Mexican like narco tattoos where it's like the skulls and the roses and stuff. Like she has one of those.
She's wearing overalls.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. It looks like got the farm girl look going with the tattoos, right?
Yeah.
And both the guy and the girl probably have the big square rims with false lenses.
The Warby Parkers.
Yeah, with the false lenses though. No real lenses in there.
Yeah,
They're wearing contacts.
They got 20/20 vision.
Yeah. That's who's probably brewing or concocting this bourbon. Not that we're looking down on that, but that's just our opinion. If you're in the area, go to Cheers and Spirits in the Arnold Station Plaza. Get yourself some of this Fistful of Bourbon if you like that cinnamon flavor, or get the Redemption if you like a little bit something more mellow. I am going over there to get the Macallan 10-year because I want you to try that.
Yeah.
That was one of the best ones I've had, and I drank it neat, and I drank it at that hipster bourbon bar.
Yeah.
So I've had a sick kid home with me this week, so I haven't been able to. They frown upon it if you take a child.
Leave the kid in the car.
No, she's attached to my hip.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think they frown upon it if you take the child in there and start giving them samples of the whiskey. So
maybe it'll be good for the cold though.
I'm gonna go solo.
Yeah.
One day, and I'm gonna go pick up that Macallan 10-year. I want to try that out. I want to see what the actual price on a bottle is. To be honest with you, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. You might get there and be like, whoa, never mind.
Yeah, that might be a $50 bottle, and I might be, ooh, that's not gonna happen.
We'll wait for Christmas.
Right. I'll have my wife go buy it for me, just like the Basil Hayden. I wouldn't buy it for me, but I'll take it as a gift.
Yeah.
But episode's a little long. Sorry for keeping you guys so long. We appreciate you coming by. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Please do, if you're on Rumble or YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button or the like button. If you're on the podcast platforms, please hit the follow so you get notified when we put out a new episode. But like always, new episodes are always Tuesdays. Generally it's 7 a.m. Some of the platforms pick it up a little bit later around 8. And hopefully, even if you're not subscribed, you come and find us anyway. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.